What you can do is have them look for my name up on um, and the broadcast should be there. Now, if you do it up on the yeah,
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at you Friday, Royal something. Ladies.
that's that's it, Lacey show. Still tweaking it. All right, Kwame, go ahead.
All right, gotcha.
I will praise you, O Lord, with all my heart. Before the gods, I will sing your praise. I will bow down toward your holy temple and will praise your name for your love and your faithfulness. For you have exalted above all things your name and your word. I surrender it all to you, O God. So many roads and chances have
Yo.
taken.
Welcome to Prophetic Prayer Warrior Podcast Radio. My name is Kim Jackson.
And I'm Taronda Hamilton, your co-host.
All right. Taronda, I decided to go back and pick up that title that the topic we had last time. It's the phones. Yeah. Yeah. Normally the phones interferes with the mics because of the electromagnetic. I decided to go back and pick up the title, Taronda.
Mm-hmm.
The title was, let me pull it back up. You know, I'm trying to get everything going.
Finding rest in the middle of your purpose.
That's why you're here with me. That's why you're here with me. Finding rest in the middle of your let me make sure I got it said correctly. I want to say it correctly.
Okay.
All right, you know how it is. I like to be correct. Let's see what we got. I'll put the title up there. You know, I have to try to find things. I'm getting it's not in there. I think it's finding rest while doing your purpose.
Okay.
I think we spoke on it last time. I was telling you how pretty much this topic was actually something that was personal to me as far as finding rest and while you're doing your purpose. Because a lot of times we're always doing, but we're never resting. So as we had left the podcast last time, I pretty much started to find out what was I missing as far as resting while doing my purpose. And one thing the Lord had brought back to me was before, when I used to work for my old company, before I even walked through the doors of the building, I would actually park my car and I was staying there for like 10 to 20 minutes doing nothing but meditation. Well, when I started this job, I started that, but then I stopped. And what the Lord has shown me is I need to get back to that. But it's going to be different than it was then, because I'm looking for something, how can I put it? Looking for something more powerful than I had back then. I'm looking for a move, a greater move.
An elevation.
Yeah, elevation. That's the word. Elevation. So that's the reason why I wanted to bring this topic back around.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's a lot to talk about.
it is a lot to talk about.
We missed some last week.
But you know, we're going to continue on this topic until the Lord said move off.
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
So we do have special guests in our studio. I'd like for you to introduce yourself.
My name is Geneva Vanderhorst.
Hey, Geneva.
My name is Faiza Henson.
Say, I could barely understand your name.
Oh, Faiza Henson.
Faiza, how you doing?
I'm good.
And
My name is Isaiah Plater.
Isaiah. Okay.
Awesome.
And you guys are representing.
We are representing the Sting Inc. Youth Nonprofit Organization. We
Mhm.
are a 501c3 youth nonprofit organization that helps young people navigate through the high school process on to the next level.
Okay. All right. So navigating is you just trying to help them as far as scholarships or
Basically, everything. We're almost like a resource network.
okay.
And we use our resources to help them. For instance, FIAZA was able to go to meet Colin Kaepernick at a camp recently with another
Cool.
nonprofit that we collaborate with. And Isaiah, even though it wasn't us, but Isaiah went to meet Will Smith with at the Make a Wish Foundation, through the Make a Wish Foundation. But what we do is we help our young people to connect with individuals in the community that are doing what they want to do. In
Okay.
addition to that, we help with like SAT, ACT prep classes. We help them by doing leadership sessions. And the main thing that we do once a year is we take them on a spring break college tour road trip, which is coming up this year on April 5th. This is our 10th annual spring
Awesome.
break college road trip. They're gone for 4 days. And last September, during the winter break, I'm sorry, that's the fall break. They have a lot of breaks.
Yeah,
I know.
A lot of breaks. So the last week of September, we went down to Tuskegee University, Alabama State University, Auburn University, and Columbus State University. And while there, they performed a community service project. We do that on each tour that we travel. We introducing our young people on what it means to actually give back. So we do that as well.
Okay.
And this year, we haven't pinpointed yet what they're going to do on the college tour for the community service project, but some of the things they've done in the past, they helped a senior citizens community write letters to the troops. They helped clean a community center. This past year, they read books to some preschoolers.
Awesome.
So we always do something, and we also gave to in Macon. We gave to a homeless shelter. So we always do something to teach our young people to give back because we believe that this generation needs to learn how to give back.
I totally agree.
Before we
totally
go,
agree.
before we go forward, Geneva, you and I were talking before we started the broadcast about your experience at Tuskegee and the community service that you did. Share with us a little more about that. And then was Faiza and Isaiah, were they a part of that?
Both of Faiza and Isaiah were at Tuskegee with us, but the community service project was in Montgomery.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
was in collaboration with Reverend Agnes Lovers Church. I want to say it's St. Paul AME in Montgomery. It is actually the home church to Rosa Parks.
Awesome.
Okay.
And they're inside the city, this school, Davis Elementary School. I'll let them tell you what they
Right.
did.
Okay.
They had an awesome experience. They
Yes.
did. They really did.
Okay, Faiza, share with
Oh.
us. Stay with us. Stay with
So
us.
we got you. Come on.
Okay, well, basically, I learned a lot. My personally favorite college that I wanted to go to was Columbus State because I want to be a psychiatrist when I'm older, and they had multiple like psychology courses, and yeah, it was good.
Did you enjoy that community service project? What did you do at the school?
I had to paint the bathroom, the girls' bathroom walls. It was a little dingy at first, but it helped people. So
Okay, what color did you pick?
I picked pink.
Okay, awesome.
Pink.
Yes,
Very
it
They
was
looked
ladylike.
very
everywhere.
nice. They looked very nice after they painted them. They were
Bad shape.
in need of help, and they look very nice when Faiz and her team finished painting those
Awesome.
bathrooms, those young girls' bathrooms.
All right, Isaiah.
Personally, I also agree with Columbus State, but that's not a university I would like to attend. I'm more in the music arts and acting, so like there's a few schools that I saw that piqued my interest on the tour, like A&M. Though that was a great school, but I would go to Columbus if that's just what I decided to do. But yeah, painting the bathrooms, we had picked blue, and I feel like the community as a whole need to do better because the way those bathrooms were, the condition was terrible. And I feel like us as a people should do better, especially when we went in there. Not only did we have to paint, but it smelled terrible. So you have to think and understand when they go to school every day, that is what they inhale into their systems and expect them to do top great. You know, you got to think about all the chemicals and the smell that,
Right.
you know, interfere with the body. So,
Awesome. And you're a senior, right?
yes, ma'am.
You sound like a politician.
He may be upcoming.
Or somewhat, because I know I heard you earlier talking about you want to get into the music industry.
Yes, sir.
That may be your passion, but it may not be your direction. Sounds like.
Or a little both.
Yeah.
We need to
Yeah.
infiltrate every area of
That's-
our culture.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, if I can, I'm pretty sure I can multitask and do all three.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's the attitude. I like
Yeah.
that.
Because I guess music reaches young people. Matter of fact, music reaches
Everybody.
everybody. So you're just mix them together, make them work.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to do my thing.
Well, Isaiah went with us. I'm not going to embarrass him, but I'm going to say Isaiah went with us years ago on a college tour when he was probably he was in middle school. Well, he was in middle school, and you see, he don't want me to tell all of it. But let me just say, at the time, he was the youngest, and he really made an impression upon us. But what that trip actually did was expose him to college, to something other than where you are.
His presence.
Exactly.
Right.
And we don't just go to HBCUs or just PWIs. We try to just mix them in so that they can see the mixture, and also they can see the size. We've gone to the big University of Georgia, the big Auburn, and we've also gone to small Mercer, and we've gone to small Gordon College. And I want to thank you, Reverend T. You didn't mention this, but she went with us one year on a tour as a chaperone. I cannot remember how long it's been. We've done this.
It's been a long time.
9 times. So, and she came and she jumped right in. And we
It was
always
experience.
welcome chaperones. Hint, hint. Chaperones. And we have a bus this year. So what we're doing is having as much exposure as we can to fill the bus. We started out in Austell area. We grew a little bit and started growing around the Cobb County area. So now we have students in as far out as Lithonia and Gwinnett, and Isaiah lives in Fulton, Douglas County, Paulding County. We opened another branch in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, my
I
hometown.
saw that. Congratulations.
Yes. And so what we want to do is just give the young people an opportunity to see other young people doing some really positive things.
How do you recruit, I guess I'll use that word, to get people into your program?
Well, initially we went over to the Austell area. I'm a member of the Austell Community Task Force, and we recruited pretty heavily around Pebblebrook and South Cobb.
Okay.
As the years went on, we found that some of the students, their siblings were growing up. So as the students graduated, their siblings became members. And then every year we go to several back-to-school bashes in July.
Okay.
School opens too early. School opens the end of July. But we go
They
to-
don't have a summer anymore.
They don't. They have to jump real quickly right outside of school into June. And then July, they're really preparing to go back. So we set up tables at back-to-school events, and that's where we recruit. We get pages and pages of young people that are interested. We go through the sign-in sheets and talk to as many as we can and invite them to come to our orientation, which is in August.
Okay. So is there an application or they just come?
No, there's an
A
application.
screening process?
There's not really a screening
Okay.
process. We're open to anyone.
Okay.
We prefer students whose parents are active with us. All of them are not. The two here, their parents are very active with us. Because another thing that we do, and in November, when you talked about relaxation,
Right.
in November we have a retreat. We rent a big Airbnb house, and initially the girls went. Faiza was one of the girls. The next week the boys went, and my son Oscar Williams, which is one of our male chaperones, he facilitates the boys. But guess what? A month ago we had a mom's retreat.
I saw that on
You
Facebook.
did.
Yes.
And their moms went. As a matter of fact, their moms, Isaiah's mom,
Yes.
was the makeup artist, and Faiza's mom,
The head wraps.
grandma, wrapped head wraps. All the head wraps were different. It was 10 of
Yes.
us. All of us had different shapes of head wraps. So his mom made us pretty, and her mom wrapped our heads. So it was a fun time, and it was that weekend when it was really cold, and we were all inside the whole weekend. But it was a good sister talk, sister circle, reflection time, bonding. Yes, it was very good. And we plan to continue that.
That's great. Isaiah, I want to ask you, what was your experience at the boys' retreat?
Well, my experience was
And what did you take away from it when you left?
honestly, when I went there, I already knew a couple of people, but I had the opportunity to, because men nowadays, our emotions are overlooked, and a few of the young men down there, I don't know how, but I somehow orchestrated a heart to heart with us all, and some of them told a lot of experiences that they've experienced and things that haunted them and harmed their emotional state. And me knowing the things that I've gone through, I've been through a lot, been through the rough, you know what I mean? So I was like, I've overcome these things, and let's see if I can help them overcome a few things. And they opened up a lot of them.
That's
So
amazing.
I felt like what I got out of it was that I'm a type of person who can get people to open up and let free and let go of what they have going on and understand that there's a better future if you can just get through it now. So I took away and I gave both.
That's great. Kim, I'm going to let you comment on that. And I'm going to give Faiza time so she can share with us about the girls' retreat. Okay?
When this young man talks, it's almost like I'm sitting up here talking to someone my age or older.
Very mature.
Because you have a passion to help people, a real deep passion, and it's not only that. It's like you have a passion for even your people. It's like you want to be that one that's okay, guys. We don't have to, like you mentioned about the bathrooms. We don't have to keep our stuff this way. We should take more pride in ourselves and do better. I would love to see you within the next 10 years to see where you're at.
Right.
Because I believe God has put in you a spirit to make a difference in people because of your heart. It's very, I'm not going to say very, it's sometimes you don't find a young person with that heart. A lot of times young people are thinking of mostly themselves. Well, I need to get this for me. I need to get this. I need to get mine. But you amazes me. You amaze me because
Passion.
your thoughts is
Passion.
the passion. Your passion is not for yourself. It's for somebody else.
Right.
Which that's good. That is truly good. You need to spread that more.
Honestly, to be honest, I really do owe it all to Sting. That first college tour, I wasn't on the right path. I was following behind my
God.
dad. I recently spoke to my father, and he told me he would have me doing things in the streets if he was around me. But I was like, I was doing those things without you. So he said he was happy he left. But when you left, I essentially did the same thing you did. But when my nana put me in the Sting, I saw college. And then I was like, well, I do play the trumpet. I do play multiple instruments. I am talented, and
Wow.
I'm a good person. So after that, I had my little thing at Morehouse when the females come over to the lunch side.
Spelman.
And the Spelman girls come to Morehouse.
Right.
And that was funny. I essentially had the girl come over to our table, and she was like, where's that little boy? I want to take a picture with him. Because I went to her table and I have a conversation with her, and I don't know, she just liked my energy, and I had kept in contact with her for a while, but she's an adult and I was young, so that's not really, but it was a friendship. And from that moment, she told me some things about college and about life, and going to Morehouse that day, meeting her really was a great influence on me. So I also want to thank Sting because that saved me from going down the wrong path.
That's awesome. Almost want to make me cry, but I'm not.
Doesn't it?
We're gonna go to and ask Faiza.
About the girls. Well, personally, I'm really an inside person. I don't like talking to like new people. But when I was on the trip, I met a lot of new people. I also knew people there from this thing, including my best friend was there because I invited her. And I didn't really talk to many people, but I came out a little because we talked about a lot of things like going on in our lives, and we sat there and we just talked. Because me personally, I used to suffer with depression, and we talked about that, a lot about that, because I found out one of the girls used to like harm themselves, and yeah, it was emotional, but it helped me come out a lot talking to the girls.
And that's usually what happens when most people, even us adults, when we go on a retreat, we find ourselves opening up. And that, to me, goes also back to something Isaiah said. It helps us to build our sense of community and how we all have something to share and something to offer, something to give and something to receive. And so when we come together like that, we need to remember that it builds one another. And so I would encourage you, even as you get older, to build a community of some sort, because it's very beneficial. And you, as much as I do this on the radio and I love what I do, I'm very introverted too. When I go places, I don't like to go places where I don't know anybody, so I could relate to you.
Yeah.
Okay, but then once I get into that little group, and I let my hair down, then I value that sense of community and that sharing and caring and giving. And so I would encourage you, when you do go to school and you're away from home, find the proper community that will help you and build you up. And I like the way we're talking about being transparent with our emotions, because that's the way we help one another. Geneva?
Well, I want to just add, and I'm off of what Faiza was saying. Faiza is very quiet, and she's always been quiet. She's not, like myself. She's just very quiet anyway. But and I noticed that she did bond with other girls that you didn't know, and I wanted to mention one young lady on the tour, on the retreat. Faiza would remember her. Her pastor introduced she and her brother to us. They're twins. They're in 11th grade. They're from Nigeria. She's only been here in Georgia 2 years. Okay. And she's a sweet girl, but she stayed. I remember opening the door to go downstairs, and she was sitting on the stairs by herself. So I had a little conversation with her. And basically she said, I don't like to be around a lot of people because they make the kids at school make fun of the way I talk. So I just don't say nothing. So she was quiet a lot, but she kind of blended a little bit. So when we had our unofficial sister circle, I mentioned to the other girls to give her a hug because she needed a hug. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And everybody, and when you see the look on that child's face,
happy.
She was so happy. Everybody gave her just something as simple as a hug, because she says, I go to school and there's one person at the whole school other than my brother that I even know. I go to class, my teachers don't invite me to say anything because I act like I don't know the answers. So I don't say anything because when I answer, everybody laugh at the way I talk. Because she has the Nigerian accent, kind of broken English kind of thing. But so what we've done, one of my board members, thank you, Valerie. I hope you get to hear this. She's connected with a Nigerian professional that she's aware of, someone I think in another state that's going to mentor this young lady.
That's awesome.
Okay.
In addition, they need to get her parents, to the school to talk to the counselors about setting up is an IEP or 504. Those are those programs that they can help, because she's a 2021 she'll be graduating next year.
Okay, and that's a definite need.
Yes.
And we have to, I like the way we bring that out, because in our community, there's such a diversity of people. And we have to begin to recognize and take note of why people are the way they are.
Yes.
Because, see, some people would perceive the young lady as being antisocial, but she's actually protecting herself from being hurt. And so when we become sensitive to the people around us within our community, then we can help them come out and become a part of the community and understand that we accept you the way you are. And acceptance is very key in this day and age.
Yep.
Okay.
Especially with the social media frenzy that we have with the young people and even older people. It's like I know that some of the people that I encountered, they talk about social media, how people get on social media, and what you see them present themselves on social media is not really who they are.
They're acting.
Yeah.
It's their own personal reality show. So now getting back to your theme, Kim, I want to ask Isaiah and Faisa, and I'm going to start with Isaiah because I'm going to give you time to think about it. In the midst of everything you do, what do you do to take care of you in your own? What helps you relax? What helps you to regroup?
Well, because I am a cancer survivor,
Share with us about that too.
Okay. When I was 15, I had figured out that I had stage 3 osteosarcoma bone cancer in my left leg. I used to play football, and I also was in a marching band. And I no longer was able to march nor play football. So that took a huge toll on my direction and what I wanted to do. And I was lost for a while. And it just, I don't know, it took a lot out of me. But now that I've fully recovered and I'm healed, I can share this story I had in the hospital. I never wanted to get up. I didn't even care. It was to the point where I was ready to go.
Wow.
And just the next day I woke up, I started walking the hospital wall, like hospital floors, like crazy. Like, I don't know why, but like you can ask any nurse at Scottish Rite. If you go there, they'll tell you I at least walked after that day, like at least 12 hours every day. And it was crazy because I enjoyed walking around, speaking with everybody because I'm a social person. But now what I do to free myself from the work, I either work out, read this book. I read a few books because I know how to write contracts for music. And, I want to be a music producer, and I know about royalties, splits, and all of those. So I've just been reading, trying to upgrade my self-knowledge so I can be able to run a business. And I also play games because I'm a gamer. So, yeah.
I don't know too many that your age that aren't gamers, but go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah, so those are a few things that I do after I'm done working. They say, well, some of my friends are like, reading is like work. Well, no, reading is like preparation for work.
Right.
Because you need to have a preparation phase before action. Because if you don't prepare and you start acting, you know what I mean? That's like going in for an audition and not having a script. And
Destined to fail.
They're like, hey, all right, I need you to do your script, and you don't know what to say. That is why preparation is important before action.
Awesome. That's a quote.
We'll wait for you to go to.
I know, right? I've been making quotes all week for some reason.
I hope you journal.
I
hope you
do.
journal.
I have a
Awesome.
few written down, actually.
This is an old song. Now I can see the cancer thing because I had experienced cancer a few years back myself, and you get to a point in your life to where you just want to just stop, and you're asking God, why did you do this to me? But then as you keep going, you realize He didn't do it to you; He did it for you because He wanted to put you in a spot to where He knew if He didn't take you through this, you wouldn't have been there. So God, it's like God is using you. You're a powerful young man. You're a truly powerful young man.
I hear it.
And I believe the journey that He's got you on is going to be amazing. I may not be around to see your whole journey, but I like to see the start of your journey. Amazing.
Faiza.
Well, me suffering with depression when I was in about 8th grade and 9th grade, it was very hard. I used to just stay in bed and just be by myself alone in the dark. I used to literally sit in the dark and just listen to music all day. But now I'm really outgoing, and I like to do things like I like spelling. Like spelling is my thing.
Really?
Definitely.
Hmm.
Yes.
That's amazing. I hated it.
Yeah, I do
I was
too.
good at it, but I hated it. But go ahead.
Yeah, I used to be in a lot of spelling bees in school. It was just,
Awesome.
it was one time I lost. It was terrible. I cried. I cried
wow,
so
that's
much.
funny.
Yeah, but now I'm really outgoing and my grades, they're going up,
Okay.
doing a lot of things.
You know,
Geneva?
see, before you move on, it's
Okay.
like, so I didn't get to say anything last time when you was talking, but I'm going to say something about you.
It's our prophet. Kim's our prophet.
I heard you talk about your depression,
Yeah.
but you have a strong spirit. You're real strong. You almost borderline stubborn.
Oh, from her expression, you call that right. But go ahead.
It's like if someone came to you and say, you cannot do this, you'll let them walk away and you'll start developing a plan to make them doubters.
Prove them wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have you two guys are just
Amazing.
amazing.
In their own right, they're
Yeah.
different, and yet they're both powerful. Because our society needs both. We have those that are quiet and timid, and they need your story. They need your
Yeah.
strength, and which is what Kim is saying. There's a strength in you, and that's what other young people need. You are powerful, and that's what our brothers need. So both of you are equally just as great. No, it's good. Geneva, go ahead. I'm gonna share something. Go ahead.
I wanted to say real quickly, and I have a picture of Faiza's face at the retreat when we took their cell phones away. We took them all away, all the girls
Good
away, and
thing.
hid them because we noticed during our discussions, somebody out of 10 girls, somebody was texting somebody else. So that meant somebody else was in the room with us. Not,
Right.
not our intention to have in there. So we took all their cell phones. And one of the young girls, I won't call her name, she was
Fit to be tied.
she was fit to be tied. She kept giving us all these excuses. No, I have a medical condition. I can't be without my phone. She was just it was like, whoa. So
You
we-
need this away from you. You're
Yes.
addicted to this phone.
The one thing we did I thought was really powerful in addition to taking away their phones, one of the young ladies had an essay. I don't know how long she had that she knew the deadline was Monday. She came on the tour, on the retreat Friday with us. So we told her to bring everything. So all the girls got together and helped her with her essay. So I think that worked out well. It kind of
Yeah.
showed sisterhood.
Yeah.
From
You
the
know,
beginning.
Yeah, I mean, she may have just gotten it. Well, I doubt she'd gotten it Friday, but she may have run out of time. She may have forgotten. But all of the girls got together and helped her with her essay.
That's
So,
awesome.
Do you know what she made on her essay?
I don't, and I'm glad you mentioned it. I'll reach out to her. I'll reach out to her. I'm sure
Yeah.
she made an A. But I wanted to say, and I wanted to show Reverend T this. This is my February I keep a calendar on my phone, and I keep one old school. That's February. All the things I had to do in February. I know some are not even on here.
Okay, that's a lot.
This is March, and is this March 1st?
March the
This
1st.
is
Yeah.
March. But what I have found for myself, I'm gonna have to start saying no, and I recognize that
Yeah.
because I do a lot, and one thing I gradually learned to do, and I know Deborah Douglas is gonna be glad to hear this. I've started delegating.
Okay.
Example, we just found out 2 hours ago that we're having Spirit Night Tuesday at Zaxby's.
Okay.
The old Geneva would have texted everybody and called everybody, but I have 2 people here with cell phones. Guess who's going to be texting when we leave here? They're going to text everybody in our organization.
Okay.
Not all of our supporters, but as many as possible. They're going to put it on their Facebook page, on the Sting Facebook page. In the old Geneva would have been up all night tonight.
Trying to do it all.
Yeah.
Trying to do it all.
Let me ask you a question because you bring up a very good point that has always bothered me is with every great leader, and I may be wrong, but most great leaders, they establish a movement, but they don't mentor or tutor someone at the point that they retire to continue the movement. And as our community, what we usually do is find it, they fall off, it falls away, and then somebody else has to restart it. So Geneva, for you, when you get to the place where you want to retire from Sting, are you building someone behind you so that it will continue?
I'm doing that as we speak.
Awesome. Awesome, because you're doing a great job, and
Thank
I would hate to see it stop, because we've got examples right here of what's going on. So something as powerful as what you're doing that changes our community, I just want to make sure.
Yes. Well.
Okay. You don't have to mention no names. I just want to make sure that's in the works.
I will, because I wanted to give them a shout out.
Okay.
I do not want to experience burnout, because that's what happens, and that's basically what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't want to experience burnout, and because I've heard of nonprofits, because one thing about a small nonprofit, we do a lot of the work ourselves.
Yes.
And people come and go. We have our board members, but most of our board members are busy also, doing tons of things. And so what I have started doing is I have my granddaughter, who I have bequested Sting to. She's 19 years old, Chelsea.
Okay.
And so she's what we call she's our alumni director. All of the young people that have been in Sting before, Chelsea has their email addresses and their phone numbers, and she periodically sends them an email shouting out, hello, if you're in town for Christmas, we're doing this Christmas party, yada, blah, 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 if you want to come by. Or, or she, like a few weeks ago, I think she sent one out and say, hope everybody's back at school, that kind of thing.
So you still keep in touch with your alumni, though?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Some of them we can't reach because I don't know where they are.
Right.
But we do.
That's awesome.
And so we do have our alumni. As a matter of fact, one of our alumni is mentoring Isaiah, Darius, who
I remember that name.
Yes, Darius was at the 10-year anniversary. He spoke.
Right. Okay.
Well, he's mentoring Isaiah, and actually he's just become a member of our board.
That's great. That's great.
25 or 26, yes. So, and that's bringing the next generation in.
Amazing.
So, back to what we were saying about when I want to relax. Last week, when everybody else was at home in the cold, my husband and I was in Myrtle Beach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Best time,
Yes.
just a little secret, the best time to go to the beach is in the off season.
Yes.
Yes.
We went in November, between Thanksgiving and the beginning of December, and we went last week. We left Thursday, come back on like Monday or Tuesday. But that's the best time to go, because the rooms are cheaper. They're like $60, and you have a kitchen, the whole kitchenette.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's still the same water. It's just cold. You can't go get in it. We don't get in there anyway.
So
We opened we are on a high rise. Open the sliding glass door and listen
hear
to
the
the
sound.
waves.
Yes.
And that is what we do to relax. It's too cold, but we're at the beach. We're away.
yes.
I have limited access to my phone.
And that's key. Away. That word away. Because you can sit at home and your intention is not to do anything over the weekend, but when you're at home, how many of us don't do anything when we're sitting at home?
Oh,
Okay, yeah, no
I got-
hands up.
plenty
So-
of stuff to do.
So the value of taking a retreat is to get away. And I
Yeah.
remember when we did the first women's retreat at my church, that was one of the plans, to get far enough that nobody say, oh, I need to run home, but close enough that would encourage people to participate.
Correct.
And that was the best. And we made a rule before we left, and that rule was no TV, no radio, nothing on the outside. And very few of us had phones when we did our first retreat.
I remember.
Right. So, I mean, that was it. And you don't contact home unless it's an emergency. Don't call, hey, how you doing? What you do? No, it's to retreat.
Exactly.
Get back, restore, refresh.
But a lot of us don't know how to retreat.
Then we need to learn. If not, we're going to reach that place of burnout,
True.
Yeah.
discouragement. And then, too, I was talking to a young man yesterday. It was yesterday. And he was under so much stress. What happened that day at work, he took it home and lashed out on his family. And see, that's what happens when we don't do that self-care. We work, we do all these things, but we need to take self-care. And that self-care doesn't always have to be with a group. just get away. Because sometimes I know sometimes in the evening I'll find myself during the summer, I'll go find a park and sit by a lake and just sit there and just enjoy the peace. So a retreat doesn't always have to cost you money.
That's important. That's very important. That's very true.
Yes.
But it is a way.
It is a way.
It is getting away because when I'm home, I know that, okay, I got to get the dishes out of the dishwasher. I need to put
Little
this
things
load of clothes in
that add
the
up.
washer.
You know, I'm gonna get to the point. Okay, the dishes in the dishwasher, they can wait. Clothes need to be washed. They got time. So let me take care of me. You know, I truly believe, and I want you young people to listen. When you get into your career, most people get into career and they go and try to make that money, do as much as they can. But you always got to remember, at some time, you got to put on your brakes. Because companies will take from you what they can. And once you decide to either leave, pass away, they'll bring in the next candidate to replace you. We have to take time for ourselves. I preach this to anyone I come in contact with. When have you spent time in your life to just be by yourself, do something for yourself? We're so busy taking care of this person, that person, but then you start looking at yourself. It's like you're sitting in a room with a glass that you at one point was full, but now you're shaking it and there's nothing in it. When you get to that point, like Reverend Taronda say, you get to a point to where you could either explode or you can say, I had enough. I'm just going to go and be by myself.
Right.
We got to take time, that personal time. That's very important. Like you always talk about the airplane, when they tell you to put your mask on first.
Before you do your children.
Yeah.
Take care of you first. Geneva, I want you to go back and elaborate some more on learning to say no.
Ooh.
That's a difficult one for some people. I have learned if my plan is for the weekend to do nothing and someone call and want to infringe on my time, I've learned that if I say I can't because I have other plans, that's the truth. My plans were to be still and to be quiet and to rest. And I no longer feel guilty about saying that. So share with us some more about that, learning how to say no.
I think that I get that from my husband, Clyde.
Thank you, Clyde.
Thank you.
Shout out to Clyde.
I am always on the go or looking in the future. You know, looking at probably September is probably already half full down. But I'll say to Clyde, I'll say, you want to do such and such? And he'll say, I'll let you know. Sometimes let you know is yes.
That gets you irritated too, though, at first.
Yeah, but that's the way. That's the thing. When we say that, it was like we have to think about it.
That's the key.
It's okay.
Because if I say yes to you and it comes to where we can't do it, then you get upset.
Yes, that's very true.
It used to irritate me, though.
Yes. And he always, seldom does he say, okay. He'll always say, I'll let you know. You know, and I'm like, but I want to know now. But yeah, but that's it mostly. And I think that a lot of us feel guilty because we don't say no.
Right.
And that's the problem. We feel like, oh no, I like her. She's a good friend. She wants to go to lunch tomorrow, but I want to just stay home or I want to take a walk tomorrow.
But should we feel guilty?
We should not.
But we do. Right.
But we do. But you're absolutely right. Because if you try to do everything that you know, all the meetings for myself, the meetings and the conference calls and the just basically meetings, lunches, dinners, conferences, you would not have any time for yourself.
You'd wear yourself down because you lost that time of rest.
Exactly.
Now, have you ever been in a situation where a person come up to you and you said no, but then they won't take that no for an answer?
Most of the time.
So how do you deal with someone like this? Someone who's real aggressive, they want a yes.
Sometimes I do like Clyde.
I'll let you know.
I'll let you know. I already know the answer, but I want to get away from them a little bit and let things kind of settle down a little bit. And then I'll reach out to them, usually by text. Because if I call them, they may just grab me again. Usually by text and say,
Don't tell too many secrets now, because you know we got listeners.
Okay, yeah. Some of the listeners maybe. But yeah, you I mean, you just have to say no.
You have to.
sometimes.
You have to.
Oh, man.
Self-care is key in every area of our lives, and we have to plan it. Don't just be spontaneous all the time. Sometimes we actually have to plan it. Put it on our calendar. This day I'm not going to do anything. This weekend I'm not doing anything. This weekend I'm not doing anything. But we have to plan it, because if we don't, we find ourselves just going and going and going and going.
Now I'm gonna take that advice. I'm gonna pull out my plan and find me a day to just for me
You have
That's a
to.
good idea.
go
That's
and
a good
hide.
idea.
And you know, because sometimes I would go to the lake, and then there's a couple of retreat centers around here.
Share, please.
I would go to Ignatius House. That's one.
Is that on the north side? I mean, on
Yes, off of Riverside.
Okay.
I would drive up there and just sit in the courtyard. It is so peaceful and quiet. Or you can sit outside, or you can go inside. But and it's not far. You know where it is.
Right.
But just go up and just sit and enjoy nature. I love nature. I love being outside, especially in the spring, the fall, and the summer. Yeah. So I find myself. I'll take a 6-hour retreat if I have to, and just head up there and just sit. So make time. We just have to, it doesn't have to, again, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate, going way out of town somewhere, you're a couple hours away. But right here in Atlanta, Marietta, Smyrna, there are places where you can go and just sit. And it's a blessing. And
refresh afterwards. You feel
Yes.
so refreshed.
Yes.
Yes, that's. I don't know. Sometimes I get puzzled. I know you say in Toronto. Normally I don't get puzzled that much. But
Okay.
come on, sometimes I don't. Really. My thing is, I'm trying to learn how to rest a different way. You know how sometimes, like you say, you go to retreat, you go get in your car, maybe drive a long distance.
Yes.
Because when I used to travel, driving in the car, listening to scripture, listening to music, used to be my rest time. Peaceful, because I had maybe a 2-hour drive. But now that doesn't work. It's like God is bringing you into a new way and a new season. So he wants you to rest differently. This morning when I was doing the prayer.
Share with us.
All right.
I know about it. Nobody else does, Kim.
Okay, now I'm going to share. I'm going to share.
Kim made a commitment.
Well, in the morning, I'm at church, and I'm there I got there at 7:30. I was trying to get there a little early. Our commitment to our pastor was, I'll come in every Sunday morning and start praying throughout the sanctuary. And when I started walking and praying, it was like, it almost felt like you had a spirit that was uneasy. But by the time I got finished, it was so much peace. It's like it's like your face and your walk just changed. But as I was getting ready to end, I noticed that the musicians started coming in, and they started playing, and the peace just gone. It just left. So I said, Lord, but this is what God spoke to me. He said, you're going to have to learn to have peace within the storm.
Yes.
So no matter what's going on around you, it's not going to stop. It's just going to increase. But you got to be willing to sit, find your peace within that storm. He kept showing me tornadoes. Have you ever known, most people say in a tornado, the outside of a tornado is full of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
But in the center of it, there's so much peace. It's just
It's a
beauty.
stillness.
Yeah.
I'm a Kansas girl, and I know about them tornadoes and that peace in the midst of it.
Because see, the storms never stop. Because we're going to, what scriptures tell, we're always going to have
Afflictions.
afflictions. So there's nothing that's going to stop. So we just got to learn to find our peace within that bit of storm. So as I was sitting there, hearing the musicians going, I just pretty much zoned out, and I had my peace again.
Okay.
So as you guys get older, remember, no matter how much chaos is in your life, you can always still find your peace. It may not be in a place where you would like it, but it'll be a place where God wants you to be. Because if you can deal with all the chaos around you and still have your peace, oh, nothing can shake you.
You've done something. You've done something. Isaiah, you want to share something?
Um, I had I posted a video on my Snapchat last night. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if she saw it or not, but after I was on my game for a bit and I was talking to my friend Braylon, and I had this thought. And it kind of does go with saying no, but it was I was like, it's kind of hard for people to move through life because they always want to. Some people always want to help someone, and one thing I learned is you can't make everybody happy because sometimes someone's happiness is you being unhappy.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people to swallow, and they won't understand that. But the reason I said that was because I've always wanted to make a lot of different people happy, but I'm not the person that's supposed to be in their lives because the way they're moving is totally different from the way I'm moving.
That's a good lesson.
So I just had a weird moment. I was like, hold on, Braylon, I'm gonna be back on the game. I went and recorded the video, put it on my Snapchat, 'cause I was like, man, it's like really a lot of people try to do a lot for other people, but who's doing something for you?
Right, at the expense of yourself.
Exactly. You're just like you were saying, like with the cup, it could be full and then sometimes it's empty. Once you pour everything out of yourself, what do you have left for you?
And how do you refill?
Exactly. How do you keep a sustained amount in your cup to make sure you can continue to overflow but give?
I love that point.
I do too.
Fill yourself up to the point of overflow to where you pouring out on other people. Faiza?
One thing about me, I used to let a lot of people walk over me, and I used to never just say no to people. I used to just go with the flow. It was terrible. It was like in 6th and 7th grade. But I started speaking out a lot more because people say my attitude is terrible now, but no.
They're not used to your nose.
No. Yeah, I used to let a lot of people just walk over me. And I'm happy I got out of that because it was terrible.
Now that's something else too, because at some point when we begin to take care of ourselves and we start to say no, other people's attitude toward us changes. It's like, okay, what's wrong with you? Nothing. I'm good now. And so we have to maintain that place of, this is my peace. And see, my thing is, I wake up and I'm in a good mood and everything's going well. I refuse to let other people take it from me. And that's what happens when you let people change who you are. Yeah. And draw them into them because they want to be happy and they don't care if you're miserable or not. But I've gotten to the place where I will not let you take that from me. I'm doing good today. And I usually share little stories and things that happen. And one time in my home church, like I said, I'm from Kansas, and my pastor there, I went to church, and I was in one of those great moods. You wake up and everything is great. You singing, you going, and all this. And I get to church, and then you also know how the atmosphere changes. And spirits kind of take over. Well, when I got to church, it seemed like, and it was a small church, so you can tell in these little small churches. Yeah. And so it seemed like everybody was crying or down. And so you want to try and fit in. It's like, ooh, I'm in the wrong spirit. I shouldn't be happy. I shouldn't be this. And that's what I kept telling myself. And I'm like, and so finally I said, Lord, why can't I get into the spirit like everybody else? And his response to me was, I didn't give you that spirit today. So instead of trying to fit in with the solemnness of everybody else, I was out of place according to everybody else, including myself, because I was excited about what God had done. And so we have to remember, in whatever situations, don't let people take from you your joy, your peace, your gladness, your goodness, your gratitude. Hold on to it. And sometimes it's a fight to do that because people going to keep trying pulling at you. But I stand in God. It's like, God, I'm going to protect this. So me, you, and the Holy Spirit, we going to stay right here.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you guys' points. And you're right. People will pull on you.
Yes.
Pull on you until they're satisfied. And me being who I am, I'm like you. I, well, sure, I do it. No problem. Well, I don't mind. But why not?
I outgrew that one.
It's just that kind spirit that we have. We always want to help someone in need, but we don't realize that we're the one in need now. And those people sitting up there looking at your glass instead of asking you, "Do you want a drink?" They're like, "You empty? Why?"
I can't use you now. I'm gone.
I've drained you.
Right. You ain't got nothing else to give me. Let me call the next person.
Wow.
But we have to take that time, and I'm gonna take your advice. I hate to be mean to people. Most people say if I get that way, then with my alter ego instead of Kim is Ken. You're so mean. No, I'm just tired. I'm gonna learn to take that advice.
All right. And you don't
See?
want to get to the place where you're tired and you lash out. Because, again, you've allowed other people to change who you are.
Yeah.
So,
But-
no, we have to guard that some days. I mean, even in traffic, for those of us that drive, it gets bad. And my attitude is when I see people cutting me off and doing this and doing all these crazy things, I recognize that there's a spirit around me that's trying to deter me. And my first thought is, not so today. And I sit back and I chill. And then I start to see the peace.
Yeah.
So don't let people or circumstances change who we are. Fight to keep the peace.
You have to fight.
It's
You
a
have to
fight.
Because if you don't take care of yourself, then who's going to take care of you? Because with our age, I mean, nothing is promised. We could go to bed one night, wake up the next morning, and not be able to move, have a stroke, have a heart attack. But the person that you've been helping, you may get some words of comfort, but they still going to say, "Okay, I got to find somebody to finish doing this job."
Yeah, they'll be around for maybe a week, maybe
Yeah, if you
a couple
like
of days. Then
A
you
week.
won't, and then you
That's
won't hear
lucky.
from them anymore after
A
that.
week is the maximum,
Oh,
huh?
you was on my mind. I meant to call you.
Wow.
So we have to take that time. We have to earnestly take that time because people are not going to look out for you. Your family will look out for you to a point.
To a point,
Unless you got to.
because even they get tired.
See me? I told God when my wife's pregnant, I said, I want a girl. People said, "Why do you want a girl?" I said, "Well, I've learned that girls take care of daddy." Not only did I
And we do.
want a girl, I even start training her to take care of daddy.
Wow.
Paris, are you listening? He
Of course
tricked
she
you.
does. Of course she does. And sons take care of mama. And I take care of my mom all the time. But I think we're in a time of our lives that we just need to put the brakes on and tell people, this is my time.
And not so much a time in our lives, but a time, period.
Yeah.
This is the times that we live in. This is the century that we live in. A lot of people are so self-centered that they really don't care about anyone else. And we have to remember in our caring to also remember to take care of ourselves. We're getting ready to close out, so I'm going to leave the last few minutes for Geneva to share with us some more about Sting, how people can connect with you, how they can contribute to your organization. So if you'll take that time and share.
Well, first, I'd like to say one thing. We received the Cobb County NAACP 2020 MLK Living the
Yes.
Dream Award.
You did.
That was huge.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That was huge. So we will be traveling April 5th through 9th. We're going to South Carolina State, Claflin, Georgia College, and State University in Milledgeville. In Milledgeville, we will perform a community service project. Then we're going over to Mercer in Macon. And I'm feeling that we're going to go over to the Harriet Tubman Museum if we can get a group set up there. And then we're coming here to the AU Center. We always in Clark, and we do a little drive-by at Georgia State. But we invite our parents, board, and supporters to meet us at the Morehouse Cafeteria on Thursday, April 9th for lunch. And it ends up being like just a nice look until they close the cafeteria. And it's just sort of thank you for giving us an opportunity to nurture your young people. They're part of our village. We're going to